Hey everybody, welcome to episode 99 of Log Talk with Pertnear Outdoors. This is your host Billy, and first and foremost, I want to apologize for being a day late and $1 short on today's episode. I had a very busy weekend up at camp with the boys, and we were doing some work, and when I got home yesterday, I had lots of honey-dos to do, and then I was right up early this morning off to do some fishing on a charter on Lake Ontario, and just didn't have the time to hit the publish button. So figured I would redo the intro here and introduce you all and start off with a half-hearted apology. So please take that or leave it. This week we've got Jimbo and Nick Scott had caught up with Trell. He is the owner of Purrfect Turkey Calls. Trell is a young guy out of Arkansas, and I think you'll enjoy the chat here. It was kind of a fun little back and forth between the guys, and learned of some interesting information about Trell that I think you all get a kick out of. So I hope you enjoy their chat here. Just kind of a general turkey talk, shoot the shit a little bit about that, and then they get into some of the particulars about what Trell's doing with his turkey calls. So check him out over at Purrfect Turkey Calls, and I will tag him in the comments or in the description here of the podcast, so you can just click on those links. But he's on all the social media and has a website as well, so I'll put all that in here. A few housekeeping things before we get this thing rolling. Reminder that we are doing the spring stimulus raffle, the Pertnear spring stimulus raffle that is benefiting National Wild Turkey Federation. We have those tickets are for sale on our website, pertnearoutdoors.com. We're going to run the open purchase for those tickets through the 26th, so that will be next Monday. Next Monday is the 26th, and we're going to draw at 8:30 at night. So we got some great prizes that were donated to us from our local chapter here of NWTF, and we're going to have some winners of some stuff like decoys, turkey vests, calls. Every winner is going to get some sort of a call, whether it be a pot call or a diaphragm call. So we have tons of stuff turkey hunting related. Head over to the website, check that out if you're interested. Get your tickets there, and you can see pictures of all the stuff that we're raffling, as well as a list of all those items and packages there. So excited to be working to support our local chapter on that end. We're also closing out the end of Shedfest here, so there is still some sheds to be found. One of our buddies, Greg, and his son went out and took a real short walk, but walked in an area that Jimbo and Mike had not walked yet, and walked a deer trail, and sounds like he found 4 or 5 pretty good sheds, and one of them was a real good one. So post the pictures up of that so y'all can see that, but sheds are still to be found out there, but we will close out and announce the winners of Shedfest here at the end of the month. So remember to tag if you're participating in that. Make sure when you post your pictures, to tag us in them so we can see them and share them, as well as email us over some copies. If you got some real good ones, email us those pictures at pertnearoutdoors@gmail.com so that we can save those pictures and share them with the group so that everybody can have that. And I'm back. Sorry, had to just step away for a moment. The wife was sitting on the stairs watching me. She needed me to start the power washer. What a woman. She's out there power washing the deck for me. I'm blessed. So the last thing I want to plug here before we get started is an app that I feel is a must-use from all of you out there. We're approaching turkey season, so it's a time when you're probably doing some e-scouting or trying to find out who owns what property, where that public land is that you can go hunt, stuff like that. I definitely recommend Basemap. This is an app I've been using for the last year. I was a user of the previous app out there, or the other app, the competitor, I guess I would say. Also enjoyed that platform, but around this time last year, I made the switch and wanted to try Basemap out, and I've been extremely pleased with what I've gotten out of the app. And I strongly encourage everybody to head over to basemap.com and check it out. I think one of the biggest things you're going to notice, aside from the cool features it's got, is that it's going to be nice on your wallet. So check that out. We've got a 20% off coupon. It's $30 for the year for the whole country, which is awesome. It's a great deal there. You get access to all the layers, all the information. But I use that 20% off. I think you're right around $24 if my math is right. So can't beat that for a 1-year subscription there. And can't say enough what I've experienced here in New York. The biggest thing for me has been having the correct ownership information. I found a few pieces that I could hunt that I did not realize I could, or knew where exactly I needed to go to ask the question. So right now it's a key thing as we approach turkey season. Access is the big thing with turkeys, as we all know. So make sure you understand where you're at, and make sure you understand where you can and can't go and where those boundaries are. And if you're not using a mobile GPS app, I strongly recommend it. So I'll be talking more and more about Basemap as we move forward, but I wanted to just plug that here real quick. So if you are interested in the app, head over to basemap.com and purchase online, and then you can access it on your cell phone as well as online. But when you purchase it through the website, use coupon code Pertnear20, and that will give you 20% off when you purchase your 1-year membership. So check that out. We will keep you in tune here as we continue to try to work with them a little bit more, but excited to be working with Ed and the team over there at Basemap, and try to drive some of you guys over there to check out their platform and their technology. It's good stuff, and it will help you finish the deed. So that's all I've got for housekeeping today. Everybody have a great rest of your week. Good luck in the youth weekend if you're heading out. Shoot straight. Hope your pattern stays tight, and keep feeding them.
Hello.
Yeah, that's your
Yeah.
name.
Squirrel's got me.
Big Jim.
Yeah.
Really, 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 really cold and fun.
Cold and fun.
Cold and fun.
That's good that you think that of it, because that's what deer hunting typically is cold and fun.
Yesterday morning, I'm glassing up on the pass and I see these deer moving. And I'm like, ooh, there's some deer moving. All of a sudden, I just see this person just head down, just hauling ass, wearing shorts and a t-shirt with a pack on. And I'm like, is that Tard? My dad always talks about floating through the woods like the autumn breeze.
So Robert's
When you're
the ghost, and
275
that's
pounds, I don't know how you do that, but
the Freightliner. It's just like a creeper. You're just kind of up in the corner watching what's going on down there.
yeah.
You know,
He's like,
he's up there slapping it, pissing all over everything.
is it warm yet?
How did you know the name of the actor?
That's right. I know.
How did you say his name?
Hervé Villagers. Remember this?
You know what Pertnear means.
If you know what Pertnear means and you live in America, you're a redneck too.
Welcome to the Log Talk Podcast, brought to you by Pertnear Outdoors.
In?
I think I'm in.
Hey, it's Scott.
I'm Trell. Nice to meet you.
Can't see you, Trell. Show your face. Show us your
There we
face.
go.
There he is.
Hour in.
There's Scott.
Is there like an inside joke here or something?
Yeah, I called him Scott the other day.
Oh, nice.
He was using his dad's email.
Nice. All right, I'm gonna bow out. I'll be back at some point.
Are you on the record?
It's recording. Let her rip.
Roger. Now you can leave, Bill.
You guys going after that bird opening day or what, Billy?
Billy's out. Billy's
He's
leaving
out.
us. He was just facilitating, and now he's got stuff to do. But how you doing, Trell?
Good. How are you?
Good. So I'm Big Jim, one of the members of Pertnear Outdoors. I'm the one that you're normally talking to.
Okay.
So tonight here, we wanted to hook up with Terrell. Last year you messaged me, you reached out to both me and Nick. That's why we got Nick on tonight. Nick, how you doing?
Good. How's it going, buddy?
Good. So you guys actually continued working together a little bit. I kind of faded out, but Terrell, you're just starting up your own call making business here for turkey calls. It started with turkeys in the spring, but then you continued on to deer calls, right?
Yes, I've done some deer, dogs, a little bit of everything, just testing it out and seeing if it works.
So why don't we just take a minute, let you introduce yourself and where you're from, and just give us a little background on you and how you got into making calls.
Okay, well, I'm Trell Trammell. I'm from Northwest Arkansas, and I've been hunting my whole life. And I guess it was 2 years ago. I was messing around with some pot calls and got interested in it, and I started making them. Made some out of little blocks and stuff, just messing around. Put some scrap glass in there, made some noises. And I think the one I made for you, I made it on a drill instead of a lathe. I hadn't got my lathe yet, and I was still working. I made that, and I finally upgraded to a lathe, and been making them ever since.
Nice. Do you do like the woodwork yourself and stuff, or is that all?
Yep, I do everything.
So start to scratch, you're making them.
Oh.
And then you got into the mouth calls more this year, right?
Yep, I just started working on the mouth calls this year. We've been doing that a little bit, testing that out.
That's where you and Nick hooked up a little bit, right? Nick, you guys started doing a bit of a series there.
Yeah, so we did. We're doing an engraved series of calls. It's called the limb hanger that he has is what my call is. I had him send me a bunch of mouth calls, and I said, well, we should if we could customize one to the engraved series, it would just be a lot of fun to do. And so he sent me a bunch of uncut calls, and I ended up cutting one, and it sounded great. I liked it. He liked it. And it seems like quite a few other people are liking it. So we're going to roll with that this year. And that's probably the only mouth call I'm going to be using this year is the engraved series calls from him.
Nice. Yeah, I got to get one and try it out. But even just around us here, there's so many people starting to make their own stuff that's almost hard to keep up with. But Trell, you reached out to me like in the beginning of last season looking for us to try some stuff out. And that slate call, I think I got it like midway through season.
Yeah, I think so.
Man, that thing I've been trying hard all season, and I got that thing, and that's the only call I used when I killed that bird, in the last 3 days of season. That's the only call I touched, and he would just go nuts every time I touched it. Did you get one of the slates too, Nick?
Yeah, I do. I believe I got 2 of them now. Yeah, I got 2 of them now. They're sitting in a drawer back here. I was scratching them up the other day. And then I had him make another one for me. He put my picture of me and my grandpa together in one. And I'm going to give one to my grandpa as a sentimental call, so he's got one.
Yeah, because you can do them custom, right, Terrell? You put pictures in them, whatever anybody wants in them, you'll do it, right?
Yep, I can put anything. I got my logo mostly. And then
yeah.
I got 2 logos. I've got the regular, then I've got the bottom land.
I think the bottom land's the one that I got there.
Yeah, that's one I sent you.
Yeah. So what's it like hunting down in Arkansas?
It's rough, to be honest. Our population's pretty low, and there's not a lot of birds.
So what really got you into hunting to begin with? Was it family tradition, or what were you working with?
Yeah, my dad took me ever since I was tiny. I couldn't even hunt yet, like wasn't even legal yet, and he would just take me and let me sit along and watch.
Yeah, that's the way to do it to get hooked.
Yep.
Was it mostly deer, or a lot into turkey too, or?
Mostly deer with him. And my grandpa, he's a really big turkey hunter.
So that's what dragged you into that.
Yep.
Do you guys have like a youth hunt program down there?
Not a program, no. We have our youth seasons though. We had that. It was actually this past Saturday and Sunday.
How'd you guys make out?
I didn't get to go. I didn't get to take anybody.
Oh, really?
Nope.
Ours is coming up here in a couple of weekends. 22nd, I think, right, Nick?
24th and the 25th.
Same thing. You've been seeing a lot out and about, or?
I've been.
You taking anybody?
Yeah. So, one of Billy and I's customers has a daughter that wants to go out. So we're gonna take her out and try to get her one.
Sweet. I got 2 kids that I'm taking out. They're both my cousins, and one of my cousins, it's his last year, and then the other one he's just starting in on it. So should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely. How old were you when you killed your first bird, Terrell?
I'm gonna be honest here. I've never killed one.
Really?
Nope, never have. Been turkey hunting my whole life. I've called in a bunch of birds. I've never killed one.
That's crazy. I wasn't expecting that.
Yep. Nope. Actually, last year I called in 2. I called in one, like, third day of season, came in on a string, gobbling every time. He got right under 40, and a coyote came across the field and scared him off right before I could shoot. Hunted hard, kept going, and then it was more towards the end of season. I called in another one. He came into 15 steps. He was coming. He wasn't gobbling great, but he came right in, put his head up over a log, and I shot. And my gun goes click. I was like, what in the world? And I had one of my best friends with me, and he was laying behind the log, laying down. He goes, shoot him, shoot him. I'm like, I did. And I jacked another one in, and he flew off as soon as I did, though. Never got a shot at him. Then I called in several jakes.
So is there not like the population down there? Or?
Nope. We've had one really, I think it was 2017. We had it was the best population year where there was turkeys everywhere, but only good year. Like that was the only 2 birds I called in last year. And that was the only 2 birds I had gobbling consistently.
Yeah. So how old are you?
I'm 17.
So you haven't been doing it too long.
No, not too long.
What's the age down there? Is it 12?
Whenever I started, I think it was 7 or 8. But yeah, I think it was that.
Yeah, because we can't hunt up here until we're 12. So,
wow.
And for some reason, I don't think I started till I was 14 because I was thinking about it, and the youth hunt is when I killed my first bird.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't, I was only able to do 2 years of the youth hunt, which is 14, 15. 16 you'd be too old. So for some reason I don't remember starting at 12, and I don't know why in the world I wouldn't have, or maybe I did and I just never got anything. But the youth hunt up here is very fruitful. It seems to be, if you can get out for the youth hunt, you're gonna be into them.
Yep.
What do you got to say, Nick?
Not a whole lot. That pretty much covers it all. I mean, I tell you, I think we had a really good hatch last year, because I don't know what you guys are seeing, but I am seeing a ton of jakes. There's a flock over here where I'm at, and there was like 10 to 15 jakes in one flock. And then there was flocks just tonight. I don't know if you see my story on Instagram. I was videoing the longbeard in one of my spots right here. And I got like him stretching his wings, and I don't know what it is, but they're torturing me this year. I'm seeing birds all over the place, and I know they're just visible right now, and I'm hoping the bird numbers are that high, and they're just not that visible right now. So hopefully it should be a good year. I'm thinking. I'm hopeful.
You guys use trail cams much, Trell, to try to pattern birds or anything?
Not necessarily pattern, but yeah, we use them to see population, trying to figure out how many we got going around.
It's pretty crazy. The last couple of springs, right above our cabin, there's always been, a couple of gobblers with like 13 or 14 hens. And it's like, just looking at that, you're like, how in the world are we going to kill that bird if he's got all those hens standing there?
We've been seeing, I think, 9 jakes and 3 longbeards at one of our spots together. So that's way up from what it normally is.
Yeah, absolutely. I think like Nick said, I think last spring was a pretty good spring. We're seeing quite a few birds up north where I hunt towards the Adirondacks.
Mm-hmm.
And down here, I was seeing them up until about a week ago, and then I'm not really seeing them anymore. So I don't know if that's just they're hanging in the woods more, or we had a really nice stretch of weather there. I don't know if when they get that nice of weather, if they start breeding, if they're not out displaying in the fields, or what's your thoughts on that, Nick?
You gotta wait for a rainy day for them to get out in them fields. I was kind of misty, crappy today up here, and I drove by 3 spots that I have permission on today, and every one of them 3 spots had multiple longbeards out in it today during the misty, crappy weather. And when I went by my one spot earlier, there was 4 longbeards out there, and just tonight when I checked it, there was 2 longbeards out there. So I think the flocks are starting to split up a little bit. I'm definitely seeing smaller numbers than I was seeing. So it'll be interesting. I hope youth season hits perfect when they're going to be looking for new hens. And I think it's going to be a good year. I really do. It's going to be a green year. I don't think it's been a couple years since it's been this green for opening weekend.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I don't know how it is down there in Arkansas right now, but we're budding everything now, which is like 2 weeks early, 3 weeks early.
Yeah, we're really
it's
here.
What's that?
It's super green down here.
You're probably about fully leaved out, aren't you?
Oh, almost. It's getting pretty close.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Makes it hard to hear gobbles.
Yeah.
They don't echo as much.
It's killing me that you're 17 years old. I thought we were dealing with like, it's funny because you don't really like have the chance to put a face to a name when you're just messaging through social media. So it's just funny to hop on here and you're like, I haven't killed a bird. And I'm thinking we're all 30 years old. And I'm like, he hasn't killed a bird. And we're like 30 years old. So yeah, 17. I mean, that's when I was younger, you know, getting off on your own and starting to hunt by yourself. It took me a few years to start consistently killing birds. Is there much, do you guys have much like private land down there? Or is there, you guys trying to hunt a lot of state?
I hunt mostly private. We own 40 personally. And then my uncle, he rents several places that I can hunt. And then I have a bunch of private by permission places that I can hunt too as well.
Yeah, it's kind of the way I am. Like we have a lot of state up here, but I was actually talking to my uncle a couple weeks ago, and you know, I think Billy's big on pushing the type 2 fun, but for me, it's like, why am I going and running miles and miles and miles of state land when I got permission on all this private and then our own camps and my in-laws property? And it's like, you know, at what point do you need to go run state land that hard for something that you got right where you can go get it yourself and there's no competition?
I'll totally agree with that. I hunt exclusively private land. I don't hunt any public. And the biggest reason is I'd have to drive 35 minutes to get to any public land. And well, not quite 30. I guess there's a piece about 20 minutes away, but I'd have to drive to go do it when I can walk right out my back door and hunt a couple 100 acres pretty much exclusively to myself. And so I'm pretty fortunate being around here and knowing everybody. I have quite a bit of permission from landowners around here, and I have quite a bit of land I can run around on. So for me, there's no sense to even really go look at public because I have everything I need here, and then I don't even have to drive as far. And there's, like you said, there's not much competition except for last year. There was a ton of people out on places last year.
Well, one of the things that I've found with private land, you know, especially like permission property, is if you were given permission, somebody else was also probably given permission because you're more than likely not the only one that asked.
Yeah. Especially when birds are out in the field strutting all day long, everybody driving by could see them. And that's why I said I want to see the birds in the field one time, and then I don't want to see them again until turkey season. Because unless it's a piece I know I can hunt exclusively by myself, it's like I got to get there early to beat the next guy. And hopefully he's good enough to leave, or, you know, if somebody else is there, then I'm gone. But hopefully they take off if I'm get there first. But that's all I've been doing this spring is getting permission on different places. And I was doing that food plot the other day, and I had a bird gobbling over where Billy's hunts. Same spot that bird was gobbling last year that he had tied up.
How'd that work out for him?
I gave them boys a long time that morning to kill that bird.
It's almost like split brow. I mean, them guys just had everything set up to a T and then gone.
I don't even want to talk about that deer. We were all after that deer. Like, you don't even know. I was losing sleep over that stupid thing.
I didn't even know about the other one they just found until I was on the phone with Billy yesterday. Or no, this morning.
He put you on the back burner of that deer, huh?
Yeah, I even get the Cuddy Link pictures from the farm, and I didn't even see one of them. I
knew about them. I got pictures of them in velvet, and I got a couple hardhorn pictures of them. And I mean, in velvet, he looked. The first picture I got him, I was like, "Whoa, we're dealing with way bigger deer than I thought we were going to be dealing with this year." But then I got a couple hardhorn pictures of him, and I was like, "Wow, he's definitely a good deer, but he's not nowhere." They always look way bigger in velvet.
Oh yeah.
You get that first picture, and you're like, damn near blows you off your feet, you know.
I was sitting on a farm last year that I got permission on. We were just, it was like a week before my wife was due. So we were just trying to kill time, do something. And we went and grabbed subs from the gas station and drove up into the top of this farm. You kind of park on the top of the hill and watch down in. And there was beans out back. And we pulled up and I'm like right out in the middle of the field, but there's like a cut in the corn that you can kind of pull in so they don't see you. And of course, farm deer, they're used to vehicles and tractors and whatever, so they'll just walk around anyways. We're sitting there eating our subs, and there's a bachelor group of like 7 or 8 out back, and I'm just glassing them. And then they worked off. And then there were some does out in the field, the clover field next to us in the corn. And then I'm just eating my sub, just looking around, and I look to my left, and there's this freaking 12-point standing there, totally clueless to my truck sitting there out in the open, like 70 yards away. And he just looked freaking monstrous. And I don't know if anybody got him or not, but I never saw him. I saw a different nice 8-point there. And then that farm just didn't cut it this year. There's too many people in and out of there. And the crop came off early. Everything was gone. It didn't work out, but like you said, the velvet, man, that thing in velvet looked like he was a 160. It was crazy.
Yeah, that's what I thought that buck was when I first seen him. Like, holy cow, we got 160 inches running around. I think he went like mid 140s or something, is what they scored him out as.
So Trell, you into deer hunting?
Yep. I'm probably more into deer hunting than I am turkey hunting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel
so are you going to continue to make deer calls too, or?
Yep, I'm gonna hopefully make a better style of call this year. I'm gonna start working on that pretty soon, trying to get that figured out for season.
So have you killed a deer yet?
Oh yeah. There's pictures out there. You can see all those.
Oh, nice. So did you start about like what's the age down there? Were you able to shoot deer when you were 7, 8 years older?
I killed my first deer when I was 5.
No shit.
Yep.
So how's that work? Just at any age, as long as you're with a legal guardian, you can hunt? Or
back then it was, and then now they've changed. It's a little higher now. I don't know exactly where it's at, but they've moved it up to a certain age now. I think they changed that a few years ago.
That's awesome. What was your first deer? Let's get the story.
Well, it was, I think I missed a few, like in October, November. I think there was a muzzleloader season. I think I missed a doe then. And then November, I missed a spike. I remember that. And then there was a youth hunt. I think it was the day after Christmas. And I went back in with my dad, and I killed a big doe with my 410.
The 410, huh? How far of a shot was that?
15 or 20 yards, not very far.
That's awesome. They're into all that 410, 20 gauge TSS stuff now. And I kind of jumped on board this year for turkey season. I bought a red dot for my 20 gauge and a TSS choke in the TSS rounds, and I'm gonna give it a whirl because I've been hauling around that 12 gauge now for a few years, and it's a beast. I haven't missed a turkey with it yet, but when you're spending days hiking 6-7 miles looking for turkeys, that 12 gauge gets heavy.
That's what I'm gonna try. I got
if I can throw the same pattern out of that 20 gauge as I am out of the 12 gauge, then why not?
Yeah. I got a Stevens 301 410 I'm going to try this year.
Yeah, I think that's one of the ones that I was watching YouTube videos on.
Yeah, I can shoot with one hand. It's crazy.
I tried the old one-handed shot one time on a Jake that snuck around behind me. It was about 7 yards away, and he came down the ravine behind me and out into the field. And I was sitting up against a stump. And the only shot I had was over my shoulder with my 12 gauge. And I freaking shot. I think probably almost took the bird out with a wad. And I got up there and got on his head. And took my mouth call out, and I was spitting blood out while I was standing there over from. I was like, that probably wasn't the best idea to shoot that gun one-handed.
I got a single shot 10 gauge you can borrow. It takes a 3.5 inch Magnum.
Is that what you're using?
No, I don't. I like my shoulder right where it is. that thing, that will put you through some abuse. That sucker hurts.
Yeah.
That's a big gun. It's got a full turkey choke on it, and I have 3.5-inch turkey mags for it. But my God, I've shot it a couple times. I hate that gun. It freaking kicks like a mule.
So, was it your bright idea to buy it, or was it somebody else's?
It's given to me.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I did some work, and he paid me with the gun that he didn't want anymore. When I got it, I was young, and I thought it was cooler than hell. I said, "Yeah, I'll take it," and I don't even hardly touch that thing anymore. That sucker hurts. It's got to weigh 20 pounds too.
If somebody's willing to give you a gun, it's probably not one you want.
Yeah, pretty much. I'd give it away real quick if anybody ever wanted it, I think.
You got to hold on to it for someday you can have your kids shoot it just to screw with them.
Oh my God. I didn't expect when I shot that thing the first time, I didn't expect it to kick me as hard as it did. And it blew me right onto I was sitting down when I shot it, and it blew me right onto my back. I mean, that thing it just wallops you, man. It's crazy. I don't even know how far you can shoot turkey with it, but I guarantee you could reach out there a long ways to touch one. That's a lot of BBs out of that thing.
Yeah. So Nick, you did a YouTube video here with pattern in your gun. What did you have going on there?
So I shoot, going back to the 20 gauge thing, my girlfriend shoots a TriStar Raptor 20 gauge, and I bought, it's dovetailed. It's not drilled and tapped for a pit to carry rail. So I bought a pit to carry rail that, tightens onto the dovetail mount, and I ended up putting a red dot on there. Shot her gun. It shot really good out to 40 yards. And then my gun, I shoot the Stoker 3500, and I'm using the 3.5-inch Longbeard XRs, number 5s, ounce and 3/4, I believe they are. And if you watch the video at 20 yards, that gun is. Did you watch the video?
No, I have not watched it yet.
I might have the pattern. Hold on. I got my turkey targets right here. I'll get your reaction when you see this 20-yard. Did you see the picture I put up or no?
Yeah, I think I saw the picture.
Yeah, that right there.
Yeah.
I mean, you can put your. It's just, if I shoot one at 20 yards, I better be dead on him because it's going to blow his head completely off.
That's what I was looking at with one of the videos I was watching for the TSS with a 20 gauge. It was literally like the size of a softball.
Oh yeah, it's crazy tight, but I like it because it allows me to reach out there quite a long ways. The bird, I shot a bird last year. It's actually the biggest bird I ever shot. Actually, there's his beard right there. I just did him up the other day. I shot him at like 65 yards going away from me. And I hit him good enough to run up there and put him down again, but it was so quick. But I shot a couple other, well, not a couple, but one other bird over by where Billy hunts 2 years ago with that gun. And I hit him at 60 yards, and they were getting ready to leave. It was my last chance I had before they were going to be into the brush, and it was going to be all over. And with pattern the gun, knowing my pattern, I said, I got to at least try it.
Yeah.
And I folded him no problem. He barely flopped on that one. So it's nice being able to reach out there and touch them when you got them stubborn birds that don't want to work all the way. Or, in the case of last year, he ended up seeing me. He seen my sling fall off my knee. He come in way to my left. I was hoping my grandpa was going to shoot him, and I wasn't even going to shoot at all. But I think you can hear it in the video. I'm going, "Can you see him? Can you see him?" He's, "Nope." "Can you see him now?" "Nope." I said, "Last chance." He says, "Nope, I can't see him." And then that's when I shot him. But when he got too far to my left, my sling fell off my knee and swung underneath me. He seen that, and it was all over from there. And I had one last opportunity clear to shoot through, and I took like a 65-yard shot, and we ended up getting the bird.
Is that Billy's bird?
What's that?
Was that Billy's bird?
No, I shot Billy's bird at like 40 yards. He come in hammering the whole way.
He missed one last year, I think, didn't he?
Yes, he did. I think he got a cell cam picture of it and went after it, and then he called it in and missed it or something.
Yeah. Rookie mistake.
Yeah, it happens. I've missed birds before.
Oh God. When I used to shoot my 20 gauge is when I used to lose them. But most of that was my gun was shooting high into the right, which is why I started running a red dot on my 20 gauge. Because it takes the guesswork out of it, but also I started with a scope on the 20 gauge, and I had 3 longbeards running in on a string at my buddy's property. I think I was in college, so probably 18ish, 19ish, and I had class till 9:30, and then I could hunt from like 10 to noon. And I ran out to his property, ran way back in the woods, threw out a call, and on a dime, 3 of them came running straight in, and there was a gully, and I was following them down the gully with my scope, and they jumped the creek. And when they came up out of the gully, as soon as the head hit the crosshairs, I shot. Well, I was following the scope the whole time and not looking out from the scope, and they were still a good 60 yards with that 20 gauge, and it didn't touch them. I shoot, and all of them just turned and ran right back to where they came from. And I'm sitting there going, what did I do? And as soon as I looked over the scope, I was like, God damn it.
Yeah, 60 yards for 20 gauges. Maybe with the new TSS stuff, but with them old loads, they just yeah, that's just not happening. Might get a golden BB.
Yeah. What are you shooting, Trell?
Shooting the Stevens 301 410 with the Federal TSS 3-inch.
So how's that pattern for you?
Really good. It's crazy.
What are you comfortable with, shooting how far with your pattern on that?
Probably 50.
Really? That's insane out of a 410.
Yeah, I've shot it at 80 just to see what it'll do, and it'll put, there's probably 10 pellets on the paper.
That's insane out of a 410 that you can even put pellets on a paper at that far. So what's TSS going for a box down there by you?
You can't find it.
For some reason up here, the only thing on the shelf is TSS. I think we're all too cheap to buy it.
The only thing here is the really cheap Federal rounds, just the Federal Turkey. I don't even know what they are.
I think we need to swap some rounds around here.
What do you shoot for? What were you shooting out of your 12 gauge, Jimmy, before you switched?
So I bought this like really old 12 gauge 1300 from a guy at work way the hell back. It was his like all around gun. It was like the only gun he had. And he wanted a nicer gun for deer. He wanted like a 20 gauge with a cantilever scope mount and the bird barrel and everything. They were selling those combo kits, the Remington 870s. Yeah. So he wanted one of those. It was on sale for deer season. And I hadn't bought a 12 gauge yet. I only had 20 gauge. And he was like $150. He's like, you can have whatever's here. He's like, shells, everything. He was like, you take it. And then I'm going to buy that 20 gauge. I'm like, sweet, I don't have a 12 gauge. I'll take it. So that gun's got like, I think it's just the typical like 28-inch barrel on it with a super full turkey choke. And I was shooting the Longbeard XRs out of that. But also I have just the classic, like whatever turkey rounds I had laying around in the pocket of my vest. Mm-hmm. And I literally have, there's like, you can't even read the writing on them anymore. There's red ones and there's black ones. And every year I just like alternate. I'm like, well, I didn't get anything with the red ones last year. I'll use the black ones this year. And I honestly, I haven't patterned that gun that much. Like I've shot it a couple of times before turkey season just to see where it's at on the paper. And I've never missed a bird with it. I mean, Billy doesn't turkey hunt a ton, but I had him out with me up at camp one time, and we were way back in the valley, and these birds were working the side hill. Like, I don't know, I had to be like 11:30. We fired him up, and I put him like over towards the base of the hill that they were gobbling at, and I backed off towards the other base of the hill, to try to draw him down to him, and he could shoot him. And I sat back, and I started calling, and then birds were going nuts, and they hung up on a logging road up above Billy. And I started scratching the leaves and throwing leaves all over the place. And them birds like turned on a dime and came running straight down the hill, and it ended up being 3 jakes. And I'm sitting there just waiting for Billy's gun to go off, and it never did. And then they got over towards me, and then there was like mounds between me and the logging road, so I couldn't really see the logging road that well. And I just happened to see one red head pop up at like 50 yards, and I could tell they were done and they were getting ready to leave. And it was like 11:55, and I was like, it's now or never. So I shoot, and it freaking dropped the thing. I go running up there, and Billy's like, what the hell are you doing? I'm like, well, I saw a red head, so I shot. He was like, they walked right by me. I'm like, yeah, you let them go. I wouldn't have done that.
Right.
He was like, I thought maybe there was a bigger one, or I don't know if he said they were too far away or something. But I was like, you got to pull the trigger.
What about bearded hens? You ever shoot a bearded hen?
I was with my dad when he shot a bearded hen.
My very first turkey on a youth hunt was a bearded hen.
How long was the beard on it?
About 8-inch beard on her. But there's one across the street from my house that I watch every once in a while. That thing's got a bigger beard than the long beards that are standing out there. It's unbelievable. I can't believe how big the beard on that thing is.
Yeah. So the one that my dad got was like pencil thin. And I almost want to say it was like a double beard, but it was super thin. It was like pencil thin. And we were up on the fields at camp, and I think she just came in silent or maybe clucking a couple of times, but she just came walking through, and my dad was like, does that have a beard? I'm like, yeah, that's got a beard. And he shot, and we grabbed it, and he was like, wow, that's a bearded hen. I'm like, no shit. I mean, I was probably like 15, 16 years old at that point. You know, that was new to me. I'd never seen anything like that before.
Right. What was it, a couple years? Well, no, last year I filmed a bearded hen up on the roost in a tree where we were hunting. I was trying to get my little cousin a bird, and we went back to my grandpa's property, and there was 2 hens that we had roosted back there. They always roost up on this nice little rise, and we got in there, and I've actually killed a couple birds off that little. There's like, it's all flat bottom, and there's a lot of beech trees in there, and then there's one little rise up before it gets out to the fields, and they always roost up on that rise. And there was a bearded hen up on the roost, and you could just see her freaking beard just dangling there, and I'm like, what in the heck is going on? I waiting for them to shoot. I thought they were going to shoot, but my grandpa said they couldn't see the bird. It was almost directly above the little blind that my grandpa had built, and it wasn't room for all 3 of us in there. So I sat back at a tree, and I was just waiting for the gun to go off, but they couldn't. I didn't realize at the time, but you know, with the bird being right above them, they couldn't see the bird, and they couldn't see it had a beard. And once it flew down, it ended up flying down all the way into the bottom. And I was, like I said, I was waiting for the gun to go off, and it never did. And they said by the time it flew down, they noticed it had a beard. They caught them moving, trying to get the gun up because they didn't hear no gobbling, so they didn't think there was a gobbler there. And it ended up taking off. But
welcome back, Slick.
Hey, what's up?
What's up? Did you know that Trell's only 17 years old?
Well, I figured either he had some sort of issue or he was 17 years old when he turned his video on. What's up, Trell?
How are you?
Good.
I mean, he's from Arkansas, and they have mostly warm weather, so I think they age better than us down there anyways. So I was figuring maybe he was like 35, 40.
Yeah, right. All that Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
All right, I'm just here just to listen. So, carry.
Yeah. So Terrell, what's the over under? Did you get one this year?
Yeah. I think there's a good chance.
Did you guys hear any on the youth hunt or no?
I didn't get to go, but yes, I've been down several times and I've heard quite a few.
Sweet.
And then also, our school has the virtual system, so I'm off the whole turkey season. So, yeah.
So you're still in high school?
Yep, I graduate in May.
Very nice. So you guys aren't even in school at all right now?
You can be, but I've been virtual the whole year just because I don't like going to school. So,
Can't hunt from school, right?
Oh, I got to hunt like 60 something days in deer season. So
That's
crazy.
awesome.
I wish I had that when I was in school. I'd be friggin' doing the same dang thing.
I was always trying to set my schedule up so I had all my classes either first thing in the morning in the fall or last thing in the afternoon in the spring. So I could have study halls all morning or all afternoon. And I'd check out to go to my job and go hunting.
The old work release excuse. I did that too. Right at the end of the day, I get out about an hour and a half early and use that to run to the tree stand.
Yeah, absolutely. So Nick, I saw you got a new camera set up there.
I do.
What are you running?
So I am running a Canon M50. It's a Ultra HD camera, and I just bought a new lens for it. It's a 18 to 300 millimeter lens, so I can roughly get to something about 250 yards with that lens. It is a telescoping lens, so I just kind of stickered it up with some camo and stuff, and I got some leafy camo I'm going to use on the tripod for turkey hunting this year. So, but it's really nice. I think I'm going to enjoy it quite a bit, because I kind of wanted to go to a setup to where I could go to taking really nice video, and then without having to change equipment, I could go to taking really nice pictures. So the camera setup is where I went with instead of the video camera side. Eventually, I'll probably get another nice video camera. I always used to run, I did the first year of video when I did it off of like $150 Canon video camera that said it shot HD, and I don't even know if it did or not, but it worked. It got me through till I could get something a lot nicer.
I'm not sure if it was your internet quality or your camera quality, but I don't know if HD should have been on the side of the camera.
Well, it says it on the side of the camera, but I don't know if it actually is or not. Like I said, but this new one I got definitely is 10 times better.
I mean, we got that little handy cam that we've had for like 10 years now, and that shoots pretty good video.
Yeah, it does. Nick, is Nick been suffering from the Dutch Hollow internet? Is that what he's suffering from?
So his video keeps freezing, but his voice seems to not be skipping at all. So I just haven't said anything.
No, here I am, butting in.
Yeah,
I don't know. I got it on the Wi-Fi, but I agree with Billy. The whole Dutch Hollow internet thing kind of sucks.
Yeah, it's awful. If we're not, it's like, how the hell? We have cell phone tower literally within eyesight of our houses, and we can't get decent cell service. It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. I should file a complaint.
I don't know. I talked to Spectrum. I talked to Spectrum a couple of years ago about it, and I asked them what it would charge me to get, because they have cable at the Christmas tree farm. I don't know how they have it, but they have cable at the Christmas tree farm, and he has internet there. So I asked him how much it would be to run it. They told me $76,000. I said, who in their right mind is paying $76,000? I said, what do you want me to do? Go to my neighbors and ask for 30 grand to get a freaking cable to their house? I said, there's no way in hell that's gonna happen.
It's for
why would they even entertain me?
Engraved Outdoors could foot that bill. What the hell are we talking about here? Aren't you guys?
Yeah.
You guys are in the red,
Engraved
right?
Outdoors.
You're a net loss organization as well, correct? That's what we do here in New York State. We lose money.
Yeah, loss is the key word there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Net.
Net loss is definitely in this operation.
Gross loss is also a terminology that we could use in that situation.
So Terrell,
Yeah,
with
for
this whole
sure.
pandemic thing, is that when you started making turkey calls, or were you making them before that?
I was making them before that.
So what really made you want to make your own?
Kind of just making it sound like a turkey, I guess. It's like the challenge is getting it to sound good.
Was it just
Because I
kind of
have-
like you were using somebody else's and you're like, I want to try to make my own?
Yep, that's basically it. And then I have piles and piles of calls that don't sound good at all.
It's pretty cool though. You
especially
made them
mouth
all,
calls.
straight by hand.
Yep. Mouth calls are worse though. I have just whole bunches of them that just squeak like a mouse. It's bad. You put it in, it sounds like you're scraping
It
aluminum.
is kind of incredible to take one of these calls that you guys are making that are like, a limited run. You're making a couple, 2, 3 at a time. It's the same deal. With Andy bringing that call over the other day, it's like he just made it, first one he's ever made, and it sounds better than anything I've ever bought from a store. And it's just kind of interesting. I don't know if it's just because it's not factory made and it's hand put together, and I don't know if you can speak to that, Trell, but it just seems like the handmade stuff, the like limited run type deal, just seems to be so much better sounding and so much better quality.
Well, that's what I test. I test all mine before I ship them out. So if they don't sound good, then they don't get shipped out. So,
All the mouth calls, or
not yeah, all the pot calls, they all get tested. And none of them do sound the same though, because everything, you can't get them exactly the same. Work on a lathe and stuff like that. You can measure, but none of them are going to sound exactly the same. So every one of them has a little different. Some may be more raspier, some may be a little bit louder. There's a bunch of differences and stuff like that.
And it matters what kind of striker that you use for each call too, right?
Yes, definitely. I have all kinds of strikers because graphite works good on some. And then I just started using ash. It's barnwood, and I had some, and I turned it down, and it sounds really good. So I like that. And then red oak is another one of my favorites.
So the one you sent me, I literally haven't touched any of it. Like you scratched it up to test it, and I literally just used that spot, and it's just perfect. Like I'm not gonna touch it because I'll probably screw it up. I'm like, that thing sounds freaking fantastic right where it is. I think I might have scuffed up the striker once, but I don't think I've messed with the call itself at all.
That's what I've been testing out. I'm going to start selling box calls. So they're in the works right now. We're testing them out and get them to sound good.
Let's hear it.
Probably pretty loud. I can only imagine what that sounds like.
I can't even imagine making a box call like, from scratch.
The first one I made, I didn't measure anything, and it's way too big. It's like I wish I would have brought it up here.
Yeah, but you need a forklift to bring it up, don't you?
Yeah. You got to keep it in your truck the whole time.
Sorry, are you like actually cutting the wood, sanding the wood, doing all of that?
Yep, I do everything.
Nice. Did you guys talk about like where do you learn to do it, or did we talk about that, or did you talk about it?
Well, I mean, he just said that he's got like the lathe and stuff like that, and he's just trial and error, right? I mean, have you like watching YouTube videos and stuff trying to figure it out, or what?
Yep, YouTube videos mostly, Facebook forums, kind of or groups, a little bit of here and there, just different things.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to like anything you go and do now. I was freaking lowering the baby's crib the other day, and I'm like, this doesn't make any freaking sense. And I pull a freaking IKEA crib lower, and it's like 2 seconds, and I got it figured out. I'm like, oh, you dumbass, that was easy. It's incredible.
YouTube University.
Yeah. A lot of smart, dumb motherfuckers out there, that.
We started doing taxidermy for YouTube as well.
Yeah, you can. I'm sorry, Trell, I didn't mean to swear. You're underage. I'm sorry. Tell your mother I said sorry. That's awful.
He probably took the virtual schooling, so he didn't have to hear kids in school swearing anymore. And
yeah, and now I'm bringing it right to your basement. Yeah,
swearing and.
If he rode a bus for a couple of years, he could probably teach us something.
Yeah, I'm sure. Ain't no church boy.
So, you said you haven't killed a turkey personally, but have you been like with your grandfather or anybody else when they've gotten one?
Yes, I have. When I was little and stuff.
That's crazy. That did you pretty much start like hunting by yourself, or are you still hunting with your grandfather and stuff?
No, he goes with me every once in a while. here and there he'll go with me because he can't walk as far as he used to could, but he still goes with me. And then I still deer hunt with my dad every once in a while. We'll go hunt together sometimes, and we'll split up. Just depends.
That's sweet. You got
I've
buddies
been-
that go with you or what?
Yep. I have some other buddy. His dad's a really good turkey hunter. He has a wall or a room in his house that's just lined with beards the whole way around. It's insane.
That's awesome. I got to start figuring out things to do with beards and fans because I'm starting to run out of every time you shoot a bird, you take the fan and you spread it out and dry it out and get it all set up. And then it's like after a while, you got so many that it's like, you got Jake fans from when you were little that you were like, oh, I got to have that mounted. I don't know, a couple of them still at the wall on the wall at mom and dad's, Bill, in the bedroom.
Yeah. That shrine's still up. Pictures of you and everything. I sleep in there at night. Makes me feel at home. It's nice.
I mean, if somebody's turkey fans might as well be on the wall because they're not yours,
Yeah. Yeah, it really cuts down on the breeding them, though. I'll tell you that much. Looking up at the turkey fans on the wall. I was some of the guys from one of the guys from the Genesis 3D printing field staff, Tori, he was telling the guys he sent off a bunch of his turkey feathers to the name of the company is escaping me, but you can actually send your turkey feathers to them and they make fletchings out of them, and they'll actually give you store credit towards, when you send in your feathers, they'll actually give you store credit towards purchasing something there, whether it be fletchings for arrows or other things that they're making out of turkey feathers. So it's kind of a neat idea. Maybe I'll find that real quick before we move totally off of that. But
is that just the wing feathers you said?
It must be just the wing feathers, because I wouldn't think you wouldn't do that with the fan feathers. They'd be too fluffy.
So you really don't want to shoot them in the wing feathers when you're going to turn in the wing feathers.
Right. It's a good point.
There used to be a place you could send in and have feathers painted too, wasn't there?
Yeah, I think you are correct. I'm trying to Wild Fletching is they actually have an Instagram page and everything. So yeah, you can send feathers off to them and they'll color them for you. If you like pink, Jim, if you wanted to put pink on your bow, you could do that.
I would love to.
Remember that time that we had the Drapes Archery put pink strings on your bow for you?
Remember that was real funny.
Yeah.
I had the worst archery year of my life after that.
Jinxed you.
I still blame it on the strings. Yeah, so what happened was I dropped off my bow to this guy that, of course, now we know him pretty well, but at the time, he was just an archery shop down the road, and my uncle was going there. He was like, "Yeah, run your bow down. They'll throw some strings on for you." So I take my bow down and drop it off, and him and my buddy started talking, and they're like, "How funny would it be if we got him to put like pink and neon green strings on that bow, because they're supposed to be red and black or something like that?" And I went to pick my bow up, and it was pink and neon green. And I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
It looked
and
awesome.
My uncle was like, "I'm so sorry. I'll pay for it." I'm like, "It's fine. It's a good joke. I'll give it to you." So I sold that bow within a year.
Yep, she gone.
So, Bill, are you going to be after that bird that was over there opening day?
Opening day?
Well, yeah, opening day. You going after that bird that was over there? He was over there the other day when I was doing that food plot.
Well, Nick, what's happening over on the old trail cameras, I got to keep that quiet on here, No, they've actually, there seems to be like a group of birds, and they kind of are making their standard loop, it seems like right now. So, I'm actually interested to start getting over there the next couple of weeks to try to get over there a couple nights and watch and see if they're doing the same thing they were doing last year, as far as where they're roosting and that. But definitely be interesting to see what happens. But yeah, I think opening day I probably will be hunting over at the farm. And then I didn't make it to camp at all last year. I haven't hunted up there much at all, so I'd like to spend some time up there early in turkey season anyway. But Jimmy
you
said,
can take your bow if you want.
My bow?
Yeah, Early archery.
Is that what I just said?
Yeah.
Oh, well, early turkey archery. I'm not taking my bow. I'm definitely not taking my bow because that's still hanging up and I haven't shot it yet. But I heard that Jimmy was telling me that you were texting him saying that bird was going nuts. Was that Saturday morning?
Yeah, and when Dale stopped over when I was doing that food plot too, I told him about it.
Yeah.
Right in that front food plot in front of the big woods there. And then he walked out to that bigger field where you shot your doe, where your doe died out there.
Yeah.
So he went right in front of where you had your blind last year.
Perfect. I'm thinking about putting it back there. It was a decent spot because you could at least see a lot, as the sun came up, you could see what was going on. But yeah, I'm thinking that. But also we had a Tom on the other side of the road, and I really like hunting on the other side of the road because there's not a lot of woods over there, so it's like if they're in that block of woods, they're in there. And what's it? I don't know. It's 10 acres ish, 20 acres.
Yeah.
So it's just not a lot of woods.
There's a lot of field over there.
Yeah. So there was a big bird over there last year that I want to say had to have been, I don't know, maybe it was the first week. Let's just say it was the second or third week of the season. There was a big bird over there with a group of 3 or 4 hens that I tried making a move on, and I had no luck. But he was out in the field down kind of behind the old heifer barn. He was down there, strutting and working, and then he just cut up the creek and stopped talking. And I was trying to kind of circle around and get in front of him, and he never came out, coming out towards bear. So I don't know, but it'll be interesting to see what happens this year. That's for sure.
I hope it's better than last year because I didn't realize how bad last year was till we got a message from a guy that he was disappointed in our podcast, and I went back and listened to it. And me and Billy kind of talked about it the other day, but it was like, if you go back and listen to I think it was season 1, week 2 or something like that of Breeding Them for Turkey Radio.
Yeah.
And yeah, like we were just like straight in the dumps for like 10, 15 minutes to start that podcast off. And it was, part of it's just realisticness. We were having a tough time and tough go of it, but
yeah, that was, it was a great discussion. Nick and Trell, we had this guy reach out, and I'm like, I don't like, his Instagram profile is not his name, and he doesn't post, like none of his posts have any pictures of him. I'm like kind of taken back. I'm like, he's like, I don't know what episode he's talking about. I have no idea what he's talking about. And I'm like, I totally respect what you're saying. I appreciate the feedback. I go, here's my phone number. If you want to call me, we can chat about it. And he like calls me immediately, and I was like, oh, all right. So we ended up chatting, and we talked for like 35 minutes, and he's like, you guys sound like great guys. And it's the first episode I've ever listened to, and it seemed like you guys were like super negative on turkey hunting here in New York. And I'm like, well, yeah, it was a freaking shit first 2 weeks of the season. I don't know what you want us to say. But it kind of made me, like, I talked to Jimmy afterwards, it kind of makes you step back a little bit, because you never know when somebody new is listening and you have no clue that's your first impression. I've listened to other podcasts, other hunting podcasts, and I've listened to the first 10 minutes and I'm like, I'm not really jiving with, just their delivery or their vibe or what they're talking about. So it is kind of funny when you think about it that, for all of us, we're creating content. It's like, you got to make, you don't need to lie and fake, that everything's great. And, it's just 140-inch bucks around every tree and huge long beards. Every morning you go out, there's long beards everywhere. That's not reality. But, on the flip side, if we're putting all this content out there, and if all you talk about is the negative, and then there's somebody new getting into the sport and they don't know much about it, and all they hear about is how there's no turkeys around, well, then how much is that person going to try to go out and turkey hunt if, you're portraying this negative experience? So I don't know. It was pretty cool connecting with him, but he kind of validated that what we were saying was true. He was kind of caught off guard by it, I guess.
Yeah. I think it's also like, if you're we're trying to attract new people, encourage people to get into it. help people out. You know, if that just happens to be the first one you picked, I mean, I see where he's coming from, because I freaking just got my ass kicked and hung up by my feet and shook the lunch money out of my pockets for the first 2 weeks of season, and I was just down in the dumps. I was kind of miserable about it.
Yeah. Yeah, Nick shot my bird first thing in the morning, opening day, so my whole season was fucked, you know. So
No, it was not first thing in the morning. I
Yeah.
gave you guys till like 11 o'clock to shoot that thing.
that's first thing. I was in the blind at 10 a.m. I was ready to go. That freaking bird, he did the same thing for like 2 weeks straight, and then the night before opening day, he decided to go somewhere else.
What was your trick, Nick? You get in there on the 4-wheeler on roost and kick them over, or what?
Yeah.
So we went there that morning, and me and Billy were there both the night before opening morning, and we seen all the hens fly up, but I seen the gobbler. I don't think you seen the gobbler, Billy, but I seen the gobbler out there, and he like disappeared. Would never seen him again the rest of the night, so had no idea where he was. So I came back on my grandma's property the next morning, and everybody was over on the Kirsch farm hunting. And so I thought I heard a faint gobble way off, and it ended up being a bird, but he got by us before I could even do anything about it. And he got down to the creek, and he was going out to the field where Billy had been seeing him. So I said, well, I was trying to get my girlfriend a bird, her first bird ever. And so I said, well, he's out in the field now. I heard the hens out there. I said, we'll just get out of here. So we ended up leaving, and we went to like 3 or 4 other spots, and it was like ridiculous. There were so many freaking people out. There was 6 trucks parked in one spot I went to, and it was all private land. You know, I don't know where all these people come from, but everybody was out, and she ended up having to go back to work about 10 o'clock. And so I just went to go see if I could catch up with my grandpa. And I went back to where he was hunting, and they had already left. So I just said, screw it. I'll just go over and sit down in the woods somewhere and see if I can't hear anything. I no sooner got in the woods and sat down a tree, and I heard a gunshot, and a turkey shot gobbles to it. And when I was coming down the road, there was a guy parked about, I don't know, 300-400 yards away from where I was parked, hunting on a different piece of property. And I could hear him calling away, and he's calling and calling and calling. Birds answering him every once in a while. And I called a couple of times, and there's a huge, Billy knows what brush I'm talking about, but there was a huge brush lot in between us. And I didn't think there was any way in hell that he was going to come through that stuff. So I shut up on the call, and I started working around. Well, I got halfway where I wanted to get to, and the bird gobbled, and he was halfway to the point where I just left from. So I literally just turned around and ran all the way back to where I was before. And within 10 minutes, he was at 40 yards, gobbling coming in, and he got to 40 yards, and I couldn't take it anymore, and I pulled the trigger.
What'd you do? Did you shoot him?
I did.
Yeah, in the face. I don't know why I'm yeah. Shot his snoot square off. Yep.
Yeah, that's right.
OFF off. Yep.
You know what Billy does to turkeys at 40 yards?
Miss some. Yep. Spray and pray. I think I might actually, I'm glad you brought that up, Jim, because I'm going to take my shotgun with me this weekend, and I'm going to shoot it at a target, because I don't think I've ever done that. And for all I know, my gun is like shooting all the way over there. I usually the only birds I've ever shot have been like 20 yards and under, so I don't really know what it does out past that range.
I'm going to make a bet that Terrell's going to kill one with a 410, and you're going to miss one with a 12 gauge this year. That's all what my bet's going to be.
Fair enough.
I'm done with that.
I hope Trell shoots one with a 410, and I don't really care if I miss one or shoot one. I have zero fish in the game here. I don't care.
Why are you bringing fish into a turkey game?
Because I might go fishing instead. That's why.
So, Trell, what your youth hunt was this weekend? Are you guys getting after it this coming weekend, or when's your
It
regular
starts next
season?
Monday.
What's that?
It starts next Monday.
Next Monday.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. They've been doing that the past 2 years.
So you're gonna hunt every single day while you're in school?
I hope so. That's the plan. At least.
So one thing I wanted to touch on here was I had messaged you earlier about we were gonna try to do like a raffle, and then I was gonna try to do like a photo contest. What we ended up doing was setting up a raffle with our local chapter of the NWTF. So we're gonna go ahead and run that here for the next couple of weeks. But I want to try to get some engagement during turkey season, from our followers, and try to get some new people around and try to get people to share pictures with us of their turkey hunting, and still do that thing that I had talked to you about earlier where, we'll pick a favorite photo at the end of season and I'll get hooked up with you and we'll get somebody a nice glass pot call from you. Because I think that's cool what you're doing. You can kind of customize them. I definitely want to try to do that. I mean, we did the contest last year and, that was putting on the contest is a lot. And I think it's just as much fun to get people to send us in stuff, contest or not, and just have a little giveaway for them. So I think it's something to try to get people involved with, and we'll try to get people to join in on that and have some fun with it. So
yeah, especially with the pic, we can even put the picture in there in the call.
Yeah, that'd be
right
perfect.
here. That's what I'm having making for my grandpa, so I can give one to him.
That thing's beautiful.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's awesome. It's freaking awesome. I love it. I'm gonna give him one for. If he wants to use it for hunting, he can, but at least sentimental value, anyways, because he's the one that really got me into it heavy. So I want to make sure I get one to him, and pretty special.
So what do you do with one like that, Terrell? That's like a kind of a keepsake. Do you scratch it up and test it, or you just send it out?
I always ask before I do it, and almost everybody lets me do it because I hate sending one out, not testing it, not knowing how it's going to sound. I mean, usually they sound pretty good because I've got it down to most of them sound good, so I'm not too worried about it. But I'd rather scratch it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you'll have to keep us posted here on your season. Share some pictures with us and let us know how you're making out and stay in touch. And are you selling stuff just on Facebook, or do you have a website, or what do you got going on?
Yep, I have a website, Instagram, Facebook, all that.
So we'll have to see if Bill, you can share that right in the show notes, or
Yep, we'll put it up on there for sure.
Try to link that stuff up on there. Try to link that stuff up on there and see what happens, and you'll have to keep us posted. It's about time I think you get out there with one of your pot calls and kill a turkey.
Yeah, me too.
That'd be good marketing for you, sir.
Yes, it would.
You can tell your teacher that you learned something from the Pertnear boys tonight on the podcast. Some extra credit. That's what I'm thinking.
Or something from next on a video screen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you want to let your teacher know, I'm available Monday through Friday. Typically afternoons are best if they would like me to come on and give a guest speech or something, or on how to build a brand or how to lose money in business. I'd be more than happy to come on and talk.
Yeah, I think you could definitely just nail down that part on losing money in business.
Yeah, the entrepreneurial spirit. Yes, I could speak highly to that. Getting yourself involved in way too much stuff so that you can't be good at any of it. That's exactly what. Listen, kids, you're going to end up in a van down by the river if you act like me.
Maybe you shouldn't show your teacher this podcast.
No. I said the F word too twice.
No. You were only on here half the time. And
I know.
We were doing good.
I know.
Well, I appreciate you guys jumping on. I think we'll probably wrap her up here and get to bed. And I know you got school in the morning, Terrell. You probably gotta get up and get going to the computer.
Let us live vicariously through you, son. You keep living the dream. We're all over here strapped down, freaking
enjoy it while you can.
Yeah.
For sure.
Life sucks. Mortgage payments, fucking car loans,
Screaming babies.
credit cards, fucking. I feel like that Billy Madison when he's like shaking that fat kid, but don't you ever grow up. You stay right where you are.
Just don't drive Chevys.
Life,
You'll be all right.
life will definitely catch up with you quick.
All right.
All right.
Nice talking with you, boys. Nice meeting you, Trell.
Yeah, thanks for hopping on. Stay in touch.
Yeah, thanks for letting me on.
Keep
Nick.
feeding them.
Nick, we'll see you down the street.
Yeah, let me know when them shirts come in. I'll drop off a engraves call to you.
Roger that. I'll be shirts will be in. I mean, I'm just getting people are getting real real touchy. I'm getting messages and emails, so I apologize for the delay, but it really isn't a
I'm
delay.
not
This
worried
is
about when it comes.
I know.
I mean, hasn't it been pretty well portrayed that we were going to let the Shedfest end and then maybe order shirts for people?
Correct. I've said that from the beginning, but you know, I don't know. I guess no one listens to what I say on the podcast, and they don't read directions on the website. Right in the top, it says, "We will not order shirts until the end of sign up!" Exclamation point! Exclamation point! Star! Middle finger. And if you're, I should put at the end of those anything we post, we should put, if you read this, you're an ass, or something along those lines, or like if you read this, you completely wasted your time or your brain cells. I don't know, but nobody reads anything anymore. You just like, oh, $5, I'll spend $5, and then it just, what the hell? I didn't get nothing for it. Well, you didn't read the directions. You don't get anything for your $5. Now go away. Sorry, tired.
So moral of the story is your t-shirts are still coming like they were supposed to be.
You will have your shirts by the end of the month. Nick, get off my ass. Jesus.
I'm just saying, I was like, if he's gonna, because I had to say something, because I'm like, if he's gonna ship my shirt to me and I live like a half a mile away from him, I'd rather just stop in there and get it so he doesn't have to spend the money on shipping it.
Listen, with COVID, everything we got going on, I can't afford to have any hand-to-hand, face-to-face contact with you. You know, even though we live in the same area, we probably have grabbed the same door handle at the hardware store. I can't, you know, it's dangerous. We can't do it. It's been a year.
You want me to test the mouth call I'll give you first?
Yeah. Yes. That's fine. Yeah, that's a different bacteria.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to make sure of that.
Yeah.
As long as it hits the air in between
the reeds,
the call, you should
in the reeds. Yeah. If you just wave it in the air like this, you know, with the amount of cow shit particles in the air around here, it'll kill anything. You got a better chance of catching E. coli from the air than you do catching COVID around here.
This really took a turn.
It did. Yep. You unmuzzled me, and this is what you got. So,
well, actually, we didn't really invite you back. You just came back.
It's kind of fun being a guest on a podcast, I'll tell you. All right. Okay, I'm done.
I'm going to bed.
All right.
It's nice meeting you, Trell. Keep up the good work.
Thanks, ladies.
See ya.
See ya.